Hello, I'm Stephen Warridge and welcome to Stephen on Sunday. On today's programme, we have the very latest as the health unions get ready to pause strike if government agrees to negotiate. The risk of Jeremy Hunt's big bet on the city, and offenders could face 2 years in prison for sexually harassing women in public. And also that, we have the latest headlines. Welcome to Stephen on Sundays. Hello, I'm Stephen Warridge. I will be joined by our guest, Paul Brand, and I'll say that name again, Paul Brand, and Emily Maitlis. We'll give you the very latest analysis on all the top stories in politics. But first, here is Mark Austin with the very latest headlines of the day. Yes, good afternoon. Search for a missing people after Jersey explosion become recovery operation. Firefighters and specialist rescue teams, including sniffer dogs, spent the night combining the wreckage of a block of flats destroyed in an explosion. A girl, 13, leukemia free after world first use of cell engineering therapy. Scientists hope the experimental therapy will pave the way for new treatments and ultimately better futures for sick children. Harry Kane says, I should say, says, I am gutted as he takes responsibility for the World Cup exit. Harry Kane took responsibility, I can't speak this afternoon. I don't know what time it is anymore. Steve, what time is it? It's afternoon. Thank you. Harry Kane took responsibility for the England's World Cup quarter-final exit at the hands of UK of France, and has given manager Gareth Southgate his full backing. Will Gareth Southgate stay on as the England manager? If not Gareth, then who? That's the conundrum facing the FA. If after reflection, the current men's boss decides another 2 years is 2 years too many. Bank of England has predicted to hike interest rates further to 3.5%. So, and ice hit parts of the UK as cold conditions set to continue for days. And delivery driver saved 90-year-old after SOS Morse code signal on car horn. Stephen, back to you now. Thank you very much indeed, Mark. Well, that is how we're going to lead into our programmes here on the STB News channel every Sunday. It will be at an earlier time normally, but we're doing a bit of a try run this week to see how we go. If not, yeah, goodbye everybody, we're leaving. But anyway, on a serious note, health unions are ready to pause strikes if the government agrees to negotiate. Nurses have made an offer to halt the unprecedented strike action planned for the 15th of December and the 20th of December. Well, Emily Maitlis is here to help me analyse this. Emily, not good, especially so close to Christmas. No, it's not, Stephen. The Royal College of Nurses has offered to press pause on the unprecedented strike action next week if the Health Secretary Steve Barclay agrees to negotiate properly on pay. Now, we're talking years of only no real pay increases, considering that only on the last budget and a few other budgets, there's only been a 1% pay rise, which in this cost of living crisis, it's not enough at all. However, the RCN General Secretary Pat Cullen told The Observer that she was willing to halt the strike action in England, Wales and Northern Ireland if Mr Barclay agreed to come to the table and discuss a deal. The union has accused the Health Secretary of refusing to properly negotiate on pay and of deploying boy statistics against the largely female workforce. It is definitely looking like he is very sexist towards the workforce of the NHS, but this also could also battle down to how bad of the spending books are the government in, because as we know, we've got a ginormous hole to try and fill in, which Kwasi Kwarteng and also Liz Truss did not fill. They made it a lot worse, but is this worse than what we think? That is the big question. Well, it's very valid points, actually. It is interesting to see what the real reason of all this is. But I was reading that the Unison General Secretary, Christina McAnias, told the paper that rather than scare the public about the consequences of strikes, the Health Secretary should table genuine plans for improving wages. Sitting down with the health unions and improving the pay on offer has put strikes on hold across Scotland. If Steve Barclay were to mirror Hollywood's approach and to commit to boosting wages this year, the threat of pre-Christmas strikes could well be lifted. Which is, honestly, it would be good if that was the case. Because I don't think we can afford, but I'm not thinking here, but I know we can't afford for the NHS to go on strike. No, absolutely not. We would be absolutely crippled because we know how many people go and injure themselves over Christmas, as daft as it may sound, as a lot of people don't go out, as the whole of the UK is at home. But the NHS still does get crippled over the winter and festive period. And to see them go on strike, it would be a big blow because there's gonna be a lot of usage over it over Christmas. Well, clearly we're going to have to hope and pray and hope that Steve Barclay will step in and negotiate. Steve, if you're watching this, please do, because we cannot afford for our NHS to go on strike. We very much do need them. Well, the next topic I will be talking to Emily is about the risks of Jeremy Hunt's big bet on the City. There is something of a tragedy for the UK in Jeremy Hunt's Edinburgh reforms of financial services. 15 years after the onset of the global financial crisis, the Cross Party hope that the UK economy could become less dependent on the City has been abandoned. Back in 1997, when the asset-backed bond markets closed down and deprived banks of vital cash, when Northern Rock was the first significant bank to collapse, financial services had for decades been on a spur of UK growth. After the biggest banks collapsed in 2008, successive governments adopted a twin remediation approach. They significantly toughened up regulation to reduce the risk of financial crisis. They encouraged other industries to flourish, as one would say. Neither ambition has quite worked out as they hoped, because look where we are now, 2022, we're back in a financial crisis, with the cost of living crisis a very big issue. The pension fund's LDI bonds via sale early this autumn shows it is impossible to eliminate the risk of economically damaging financial crises, though they can be mitigated. But more significant is that the underlying growth rate of the UK has fallen since 2008 by more than a third. I just get a migraine by doing all this. Why did I go to a Sunday show? This bonfire of burdens on the City is being branded by Remainder Hunt and the Treasury as another Brexit Liberation Day. The incineration of gross stifling rules made in Brussels, which is to ignore the fact that the UK was a powerful voice shaping the EU playing field, and somewhat of what Hunt wants to scrap is homegrown. So, Emily, is this going to work? Well, quite frankly, no, apparently I'm not wanted today. Cameraman, take your camera on me, please. That's better. Well, the changes being made to reinform short selling or bets by the hedge funds that the price of shares and other assets are set to fall. EU constraints on how and where insurers can invest will be reduced in the hope this channels billions to UK infrastructure. It's definitely a very good gamble. I personally can't say whether this will pay off or not. I mean, what you went off, what you were reading there about financial crisis. Oh, I'm tired. Excusez-moi. It's the fact that, yes, the previous governments of the Conservative parties did try and reduce the fats of one, but obviously COVID's coming around and obviously challenging countries like we've never seen before. Quite clearly shows that we could go into a financial crisis no matter what, and especially with the war in Ukraine against Russia. Excuse me, I'm dying. Just shows the fact that we're definitely not going to be out them, but we definitely need to try hard not to get in one. Well said, Emily. It is time for a very quick break. So we're going to go on one. See you in a moment. Hello and welcome to Stephen on Sundays. It's nice to have you with us. Hope you're doing well this Sunday. And well, the very latest now, as offenders could face 2 years in prison for sexually harassing women in public. Paul Brand, good news. Finally. Without a doubt, Stephen, it's been a very controversial discussion about why it's taken so long for this to finally become or be talked about. The Home Secretary Suella Braverman had declared her support for the new legislation brought forward by Tory Minister Greg Clark to make the behaviour of a specific offence, as she insisted every woman should feel safe to walk our streets. The government wants to make the law clearer to the public, and the police encourage women to report their experiences and emphasise the severity of the crime. It is backing a private member's bill brought forward by Mr Clark, which would take this step through amending the 1986 Public Order Act. He would also introduce harsher punishments for perpetrators, ramping up the maximum time behind bars from 6 months to 2 years. The move follows a consultation on whether to make the public sexual harassment a specific offence, which found most view the issue of a widespread problem. Paul, thank you very much indeed. And that is it from us today. We'll be back again next Sunday with more politics talk here on Sunday Stevens. Stephen on Sundays, that is it. Good night.